Hello, my Yu-Gi-Oh community. It's Low Res, and so today I'm going to be showing you my Virtual World deck profile. So I'm really excited about this deck. Decided to pick it up a little bit ago, and I think it's pretty good. Been playing around with it online, doing some testing, and I really think that this list is super solid. With my collection, I think this list is super solid. There's some substitutions I think you should make, but overall, I think this is a really good list. So I'm going to start out now. So obviously, you got one, two, three Lulu. So Lulu, Searcher of the deck, best card for Virtual World. I think it's amazing. It's super strong. It's got super high potential. It gets you to any of your pieces, so it gets you to Chuchi for disruption, gets you to your other monsters for extension, and it's just super good. So next we got 3 copies of Lao Lao. Lao Lao, I love Lao Lao personally. A lot of people don't use him as much, but I love him. Because a cool combo you can do. It's not really a combo, but one card can get you, with a little bit of setup, it can get you to a 3 monsters. So if you Lao Lao, and then you either bring back your Lulu or your Gigi, you can send your Nian Nian from your deck, and then you can revive the level 3, and then Nian Nian will come back. So you get 3 monsters for the price of 1. So I think that's really cool. Next up, we have Triple Lily. I think it's the second best Virtual World monster after Lulu. Not much to say about it. It's just another foolish burial, just to get some more monsters in grave. Gigi, 3 copies just for recovery, and it's another Virtual World target for all your cards. Then we have 3 copies of Nian Nian. My other 2 have not come in yet, so I'm kind of waiting on those. But right now, I got 3 Nian Nian. Nian Nian is really awesome. So she doesn't special summon, so she's most likely going to be your normal summon. Because she doesn't special summon from the hand like all the other ones. So card I'm kind of testing out right now is I'm testing out 1 copy of Psychic Wielder. I think this card's really good. It's an extender. I think if you're going to play it, you should either play it 3 or none, because you don't want to just see it but then not be able to do anything with it. So he's really good. So then that's the main monster lineup here. Then we're gonna move on. We got 2 copies of Ash. These are the only copies of Ash that I have, but Ash is really powerful. If you have more, I say put it in for the Imperm later. So then we got the Gamma package. We got 3 Gamma. Always want to see Gamma, and then Driver. These are really strong because if they can clear your board, then you can very easily go into, you can easily get Gamma on the field. 1 copy of Imperm, only copy of Imperm I have, but it's a really strong card, but not as much in this format, so I suggest putting an Ash Blossom in, or if you don't have Gamma, Imperm, or even more Ash Blossoms, put in Ghost Bell. Ghost Bell's really good. Then back to Virtual World cards, we got 3 Kowloon. Kowloon is probably the most powerful spell trap in this deck. It just gets you to Chuchi on your first turn or King Long on your first turn from the deck. So it's just it's an automatic play for this, and any Virtual World monster can get you into a VFD. So that's pretty awesome, and you can even go double VFD sometimes. Then we got Triple King Long. King Long is a very powerful card. So this is your searcher, so you banish it from your grave, search any Virtual World monster, and then send a card from your hand to grave. So usually you want to send something like Nian Nian or Driver. Driver is not necessarily a brick because you're always going to be sending cards to the grave, which that's good for Driver because you can summon from anywhere. Goods. So Goods is also basically as good as getting Kowloon, because you can goods off your King Long, and then the King Long gives you a free search. Other power cards, Desires. You don't really lose too much from Desires because you run Nian Nian, and Nian Nian, when banished, she can recover one of your banished cards to the deck, even whether it's any card, so it can be face up, face down, which is amazing, so you can actually recover your pot of Desires cards. Then I have 3 copies of Virtual World Chuchi, Virtual Gate Chuchi. Chuchi is amazing. It's a disruption on your opponent's turn, destroying spell traps. It's a recycler for your King Long, because you'll very quickly run out of King Longs and targets like that. So you're gonna want to shuffle them back with Chuchi. Then I have the 4 power cards. We got Harpy's Feather Duster, Monster Reborn, Raigeki, and Called by the Grave. So that's gonna round out the main deck that I run. Super powerful, really strong. I think it's a really tight build. If you wanted, you could add Psychic Wielder, or take him out, and then change out the hand trap lineup. But I think running more than 7 to 9 cards as hand traps is a lot for this deck. So here we're going on the extra deck. So obviously you're gonna want at least 1 copy of Shen Shen. You'll see why I run only 1. I run 1 copy of Croc Dragon Arceus. This is a really good card, just an extender, and it's a level 9 that just lets you keep going. Shen Shen, actually, I consider running 2 copies, but the extra deck is actually, I had a hard time choosing what to put in, because of all the different cards that work in it. So then we got Vermilion Dragon Mech. This card is a once per turn. You can pop any card on the field by banishing a tuner. So that's not necessarily bad, because that can also get you fodder for your Chuchi to pop. Then we got Cloud Castle. Cloud Castle is a key part of the 2-card VFD combos. It lets you bring back your Shen Shen, your Arceus, or your Mech, and then it can also stop your opponent's lower attacking monsters from attacking, but it also does yours too. Then we have, so that's all the level 9s we have. This is actually a 16-card extra deck, so you can actually take one of these cards out if you have to take one of these cards out, but you have a few options if you so desire. So I'll move on to the level 6 Synchros. So for level 6 Synchros, we have 1 copy of Dwee. Dwee is like just a wall. Like it's literally just a cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects wall. And you can just send cards to the graveyard, so it's an out to Dragoon. Or no, it's not an out to Dragoon because it targets, but it's an out to a lot of cards that can't be destroyed or destroyed. Then we have Coral Dragon. Coral Dragon is just a pop and another draw. Charge Warrior. Charge Warrior is just a draw. So as you see, we have like Arceus for the draw, Coral Dragon for the draw, Charge Warrior for the draw, and they just quickly turbo out. And you can turbo out 6s and 9s really quickly in this deck. So one of the cards that I suggest you might want to try and maybe take out is Omega. I really love it. I've been able to make him many a time, but there are just some times when he's not as useful as something like Utopia Beyond, which is what I subbed him in for. So then I'm going to move on to the Exceeds. We got the level 3s. We have Break Sword, we got Jaja, and we got Shadow. Break Sword is just for spot removal, and he's just really strong. He gets pretty pumped, so he's a 2000 beat stick, and he can destroy any card on your field and any card on your opponent's field, so that's really strong. Gossip Shadow, it's an out to Nibiru, or just disruption on your opponent's turn, really strong. Jaja, Jaja is one of the only outs to Dragoon that you have in this deck, so by detaching a material, it makes itself invincible for the rest of the turn, and you can attack into their Dragoon, and then it gets banished. So if this card's on the field, anything that battles gets banished, if you have 2 or more monsters of the same type. To the level 6s, or reg 6s, we have Utopia Beyond. So this card, the second effect really doesn't do anything since you don't run Utopia, but the first effect, you can drop all your opponent's monsters to 0 attack permanently, which is amazing. So it just lets you get over those big monsters if you really can't get into your stronger guys, or like your Break Sword or something. Phoenix Fan Fan is pretty good for graveyard control. So what it does is you can detach 2 materials, and you can banish 1 face-up card from your opponent's field and 1 from either player's graveyard. So you can banish your Nian Nian from your grave to recover a banished card, or you can just banish something from their grave that you think might activate later. 1 copy of Trishula, the Dragon of Icy Imprisonment. This card's amazing. It lets you make use of your opponent's Nibiru tokens. So in this deck, you can get hit by Nibiru and still play through if you're extending enough. But also, the token is pretty useless because we don't run any links, because all of the virtual world monsters at the end, they have a clause where you can't summon any you can only summon level 3/rank 3 or higher monsters for the rest of the turn. So that means you can't summon any links since they don't have a level or a rank. So that makes Trishula really good, so then you can take away the token and 2 other monsters, suck it up into Trishula, and then go into the card that you hear most about from this deck, VFD. True King of all calamities. It's really strong, detached material. Your opponent can't activate that attribute's effects. So you can either shotgun it, which is not really suggested until at least game 2, or you can wait till they summon it on their summon, then you can activate its effect. So it's really strong, powerful card. It's really amazing, and it's super easy to make in this deck. Card that I forgot to mention a few things about is Shen Shen. Shen Shen, if you have 2 or more cards with different attributes and types in the graveyard, you can banish them, and then you can summon Shen Shen in a turn that she wasn't sent to the graveyard. So Shen Shen's pretty awesome. And then for the side deck, this is kind of just something I threw together. I have the second Shen Shen. So this is actually an 18-card side deck, so you can take out 3 of these cards, which I suggest doing. Or you have to take out 3 cards, but there are a few that I suggest taking out. So you have Shen Shen. This is probably one of the ones that you might want to take out because it's not necessary, but I just prefer it because I think it's a really strong card. And having the second copy, there was a game where I was playing where I could have won it if I had 1 more level 9 synchro target, and I just missed lethal because I didn't have the target for my synchro summon. Next we got Pankratops. Pankratops is just an auto include in any deck, so then you can decide for going first or second. It's just amazing. 1 copy of Ghost Spell. I only have 1 copy of Ghost Spell. If I could get more, that would be great. But Ghost Spell is really powerful then, because it stops all of the graveyard-based stuff, so you can stop them from getting their Meteor and Drytron back. You can stop them from summoning their Drytron monsters from the graveyard. You can stop Virtual World from banishing like their Kinglong and their Chuchi from the graveyard. You can stop them from summoning things from the grave. Ghost Spell is just super powerful. Then you have Artifact Lancia. Also very strong card. It serves a similar purpose to Bell, but not as great. But they have different niches. So Bell is really good for stopping your opponent from using their graveyard, but Lancia is really good for locking your opponent to their graveyard. So Lancia just in some decks it can destroy them. Like Virtual World Mirror Match, you're gonna want this card because it'll just stop your opponent in their tracks if you just Lancia them. If they have a good enough hand, they can extend past it. But if they don't have a good enough hand and they're trying to get Lulu into their hand with Kinglong, you can just Lancia and they can't do anything about it. Then we have 3 Meister. Meister is also another graveyard preventer. I think Ghost Bell is more powerful than Meister, but Meister is a really good sub if you don't have Ghost Bell. Then I have 3 copies of Twin Twisters. This deck doesn't have very much inherent back row hate other than like your Vermilion Dragon Mech and your Arceus and your Harpy's Feather Duster. You don't have very much inherent back row removal in the archetype, so I think it's a really good card to have. Side it in almost any deck. The only decks I would there's another back row removal card that you see a lot called Cosmic Cyclone. Only thing about it is I love Cosmic Cyclone, but against the matchups I play against, which are usually like Altergeist and Paleo Frogs, I want to have Twin Twisters because they have more quantity over quality. So I'd rather have Twin Twisters rather than if I was in the Eldritch matchup, I would want Cosmic because Cosmic banishes instead of destroying, meaning that they won't get their effects to set in the set off the traps. Then I have 3 copies of Solemn Judgment. You can switch this out for any of the Solemns. I think Strike is probably the best one. Judgment is like kind of slight back row hate, but also mostly used for monsters. So I would say mostly you're gonna want Solemn Judgment or Solemn Strike for the monster effects, but Judgment is also really powerful. And then last cards, Phoenix Wing Windblast. This is partly for mirror match, partly for just in general removal. So it's targeting return to the hand, or stack to the top of the deck. So this can get rid of any card that can't be destroyed, but still targeted. So that's a really powerful card. And thank you for watching, because this is the first deck profile. So yeah, that's the end of it. I hope you enjoyed, and I really hope that you had a good time watching. Hit the like and the subscribe button. Comment down below if there's anything you have suggestions for in this deck profile. And I really thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe, notification bell if you really want to catch up on those videos. Thank you so much, and I'll be checking out now.